Hello, I'm Jill Martin, your host for Worth the Price of Admission. As a concert photographer, I had the incredible opportunity to capture unforgettable moments and connect personally with some of the most extraordinary people of our time. I'm deeply inspired by how individuals overcome obstacles to achieve their dreams. Join me as my guests reveal their unique journeys and untold stories, giving you an intimate look behind the scenes of their lives and explore the unforgettable experiences that have shaped who they are today. Each episode is crafted to inspire, educate, and entertain. So sit back and get ready. Every story is worth the price of admission. Good evening. I'm Jill Martin, and this is Worth the Price of Admission. I would like to thank the BronxNet Studios for the use of this studio today and their fabulous crew here at Mercy College. It's one of 3 studios located in the Bronx for this interview. My guest today is Cheryl Howard. Cheryl is the daughter of baseball's great New York Yankee, Elston Howard. My late husband, Billy, knew him very well. Elston was one of his coaches, and Billy played with him when he himself was a player for the New York Yankees. I've known Cheryl and her beautiful mother, Arlene, for a long time, and it's an honor for me to have her here on my show today to talk about Mom and Dad, growing up in the New York Yankee organization, and what she's doing today. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Yes, and I've got a video to show you about your dad.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Number 32, Elston Howard.
Elston Howard, the first African-American on the New York Yankees.
Deep to left field. That ball is gone. Man, Ellie really tagged that one.
The African-American who, like Jackie, carried with him responsibilities that make their accomplishments all the more important.
In his first World Series time at bat, Howard smashes a homer to left.
He was good at everything he did. He had a good arm, he was a good receiver, and he was a good hitter.
That ball is gone way back. Tremendous home run.
In 1963, he was the first black player to become AL MVP.
In 1969, Elston Howard was the first black coach in the American League, and that's another milestone and credit to his resume.
Ellie talked to me about Jackie Robinson, and he said, I could not have gone through what Jackie Robinson went through. But in his own quiet way, Ellie also was a pioneer.
So what'd you think of that video?
I thought the video was wonderful. It's great. I've never seen it before, and it's always such a thrill to see things, that are honoring my father. So it was lovely, really lovely.
First of all, I want to thank you for your father's service. It's Veterans Weekend, and without his contribution, as many others, we would not have a lot of the wonderful things and privileges we have today.
Yes,
so thank you. Yes. And how's Mom?
Mom is doing great. She's doing wonderful. She's in rehab, getting some physical therapy, and she's doing great. She's doing great, getting stronger every day.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And so this weekend is also special because your dad's getting inducted into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame.
Right.
Yes.
Right, which is a first, which is exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
And we're all going to go up there to root you on and have a wonderful weekend.
Oh, I know it will be.
I'm so glad to share that with you, Cheryl. And, I have to say that every time I've ever come to Yankee Stadium, you have always gotten together with me and given me the biggest hug, and we talk and we laugh. And I've always appreciated that for I don't know how many years.
Oh, that's wonderful. Me too. So do I.
Yes. So obviously, you grew up in the New York Yankee organization. What was that like?
It was really special. It was really, really, really special. Because you don't really realize that as a kid because it's just normal sort of situation for you from my point of view, but you don't realize that you have all these special people around you like Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford and Roger Maris, all these great, incredible players, who have these incredible legacies. So it was a wonderful thing to be a part of it because you get to do a lot of things that other people don't do, which being a part of the Yankee organization, they used to have something called Family Day, which is the families got together and they brought the kids and they all got together and, got to meet each other's families. So it was wonderful. I'm not sure they do that anymore, but it was really great when I was coming up. It was really great.
And your sister and your brother joined you?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
And so what was it like to watch your dad out on the baseball field and when you were young and he did so many wonderful things?
That was exciting. because we went to the stadium quite often during the season, to watch games. So it was exciting. It was really exciting because at that time he was a catcher. I'm talking about the time when he played. So he was a catcher at that time. And so it was always exciting when he came up to see what he was going to do, if he was going to hit a base hit or a single or a double or a home run or whatever the case may be. So it was always exciting to see what he was going to be.
Where did you guys sit?
Well, we sat in what they called the family section, which is kind of directly behind home plate, a little further back. So all the wives and all the kids of all the players sat in the same section all the time for all the games. And so, that's where we sat, in the family section.
Do you know, I remember meeting so many people on the road with their families, and some of them had many children. And I was always so amazed at, what went on in those sections. And sometimes, everybody kind of like jumped up and down and ran around, and the mothers were trying to catch everybody.
That's true. That as well? That's true. That's true. That was going on. Because it was a lot of young kids. It was a lot of young kids, and they were very, just full of adrenaline. So yeah, that was a lot of it. It was a lot of it. Kids running around and, mothers pulling their hair out a little bit because not quite sure how to calm them down. But yeah, that was all a part of it. It really was.
Or dad's coming to the plate, you better sit down.
Exactly. Or dad's coming to the plate, you better sit down and behave yourself. Exactly. Exactly.
And your dad also played a little bit of right field and a little bit of left field.
Yes, he did. He did. He did. When he was coming up, when he was first coming up, my father wanted to follow in the same footsteps as Jackie Robinson, but that was 8 years after, because he joined the Yankees when he was 26 years old.
And he was the first black player.
He was the first African-American, the first man of color to play for the New York Yankees.
Do you remember anything about that, or the experience of that, or what you saw or felt? Or
I was really young at that time. I was really young. So I don't remember a great deal about that. But I know that it was always something that my parents were very, very aware of and very, very conscious of. And what I mean by that is just making sure that they set a great example, as African Americans and people of color, just making sure that they set a great example of, okay, this is, how we act, and this is how, we behave, and this is how we present ourselves. So they were always presenting themselves in a positive light.
Well, your mom was, is extremely classy and elegant, and just someone that we always looked up to. I mean, she always dressed to the nines and just looked beautiful, her hair and her shoes and everything about her. And she was always so gracious to everyone.
Yes, it's
and
true.
that was, I came on the scene after all that. I met Billy in 1980, so I didn't exactly right before your dad passed away.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
And I didn't get to meet your mom until obviously after that. But always gracious and kind to me. And then I got to meet you. I don't recall meeting your brother or your sister.
Okay. Yeah.
And your brother passed away.
Yes, he did. He passed away.
And so did your sister.
So did my sister.
So you're the last of the family.
Yes, I am. Yes,
and so you're also your mom's caretaker.
Yes, I am. I am currently my mother's caretaker.
But you have quite a career yourself, too. Working in plays, acting, singing. You're a heck of a singer. And done many national anthems as well.
Yes, I have had that great opportunity. I think my father laid the groundwork for me to do that because of who he was. I was able, I got that opportunity to sing the national anthem at the Division Series, the American League Series, the World Series. So it was an honor. It was.
Were you nervous?
Honor. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was very nervous.
And did you get to practice on the field at all before?
Yeah, I would. I would have a sound check like the day before or so, because you get this echo coming back at you, this feedback. And so that can be very confusing. So you need to get used to that. You don't want to get caught up in the feedback of the echo, because then you get yourself confused. So it was always important to have a sound check.
And so do you sing today?
I do sing. I do sing. I love to sing. It's it's who I am. It's part of who I am. So yeah, I do sing. I do sing.
And when did you realize that you loved that so much?
Oh, fairly early, very early on that I loved it. Because I was always a kid, always, making up stories and playing characters and putting together shows. And I was always just a very productive person in that way growing up. And so I was very young when I realized that. I'd say very young. I was always into theater and television and musical theater and acting and dance as well, being a part of that because I studied dance when I was very young. Ballet and jazz and tap. So I was studying all those different.
And so were mom and dad strict?
Were mom and dad strict? I'm going to say yes, they could be very strict.
Okay. That's good.
Yes,
no,
they
that's
could
a good
be.
thing, right?
Yeah, they could be strict. They could be strict when the moment caused for them to be strict. They definitely were strict, you know.
Can you remember any time that was disappointing to you because they were strict?
Good question. Oh, let me think. Oh,
School, boyfriends?
school definitely. School definitely. Yeah, because sometimes, you know, we didn't want to go to school. So.
It's kind of typical, right? Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we would, you know, act like we were sick or had a cold when we really didn't. And my mother
I tried that a few times.
Oh, you did? You tried that a few times too? Yeah.
Sometimes it worked.
Sometimes it worked. And sometimes it did work. It was amazingly so. It did work, you know. But then my mother caught on. My
pretty sharp lady.
on.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And she was really the woman behind the man, huh?
She really was the woman behind the man. You know, when my father was playing for the Yankees, at first when he started, he was a part-time player, you know. He wasn't, you know, catching all the time, you know, he was a backup for Yogi. And so he wasn't playing all the time. And so my mother suggested, well, why don't you demand a trade? But my father was like, no, because he loved being a Yankee. He loved being a Yankee. And why not? I mean, at that time, the Yankees were winning the World Series nearly every year.
And your dad was helping him. I mean,
That's true.
You know, what I've come to know is that, I mean, almost every single World Series, and I think he was in 8 or 9 of them or something. And
least,
I mean,
yes.
he would pull off that home run. And even there were times, obviously, that they didn't win the series, but they won it more times than they didn't.
They did.
And
he
always
really
came
did.
through and had an incredible record. And I understand he helped. There's one particular pitcher that didn't see well. And so he would, instead of doing the finger movements, he would crouch down and let him know what kind of pitch he should throw.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, interesting,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
He enjoyed, obviously, being a catcher more than anything else. But then didn't he also invent, there was something that they put on the bat?
Yes.
And that was patented and sold
Right.
because of what he did. So it enabled that. You remember the players used to pick up mini bats because of the weight of the bat so they could swing better. And so the donut.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
The baseball donut. It was a round weight that you can just slip on top of the bat, and it gives you that heavy weight so that you can practice your swing, you know, and warm up, you know, before you get to the plate. So even to this day, players use the donut, you know, to warm up, you know, on the on-deck circle. So it's still being used to this day, which is kind of a neat thing.
And then I read that, and also was told that the old stadium they dedicated to your father.
Yes,
across the street. Yes,
they did. They did do that.
That must have been quite a thrill. Huh?
Yes, that was. That was quite a thrill. You know, it was really exciting that they would do that, and in memory of my father. So yeah, I'm very proud of that.
And what would you say your father's proudest accomplishment was?
Oh gosh. You know what? He'd probably say something like his family, like raising his 3 children. I think that would.
Rumor has that, yes, that the family was extremely important to him.
Yes.
And he was very sad when he got traded to Boston, but he did go walk in there and help him for that miracle year, like right off the bat.
They sure,
very grateful.
Sure did. He sure did.
But that's what he was. He came out and he would just come up to the plate and off it would go out of the field.
That's true. That's very, very true.
It was really good.
That's very true.
Billy once told me that when Ellie first came onto the team, he had gotten on one of the buses one day and Ellie was sitting by himself. And of course, Billy walked in with a big old cigar in his mouth and realized that Ellie was sitting by himself. So he said, I'm going to sit with Ellie. And he goes over and says, so how's it going, Dago? And I think they instantly became friends. I know what they all went through with your father traveling during that period of time. You know, Jackie Robinson obviously broke that barrier, and Elston came next. So many times they stood up for him. And if there's places that your father may not have been welcome, the guy said, we're not going.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beautiful part of this story, is that they really were a family. That, you know, all the players really were like family, and they treated each other like brothers. You know, they didn't care about the color of my father's skin. They just treated him, you know, like he was one of their own, which was a beautiful thing, and is true. If they would be invited to a certain place and my father wasn't allowed to go, they'd say, well, we're not going at all. You know, so it was like that, you know, back then, which was an incredible thing when you think about it.
And you think, yes, it is. He had such grace and humility, and everybody loved him.
Yeah, he really did. He had a gentleness about him and a humility and a very strong sense of humanity about him. And yeah.
And so you were at the Old Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
And so I was fortunate enough to be able to be there as well. And what do you think of the new one?
Honestly, I got to tell you, I think I like the old one better.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I like the old one better. It was, I don't know, there's a sense of warmth around it. Whereas this one that we're at now, it's a little bit cold. I don't know. It's
beautiful. And
it is beautiful. Let me
yes,
say
it really
that.
Is beautiful.
Yeah, I don't want people to think, you know, oh, I think it's not so nice, but it's lovely. It's lovely. It just has a very corporate, you know, cold sort of feel to it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, that's the way it is. Whereas the other one had more of a gritty, you know, old-fashioned baseball and had like this incredible history. I mean, you're talking about the places where Babe Ruth, you know, the house that he built. I mean, you know, it was just a wonderful thing. And the legacy and the history of the first, you know, Yankee Stadium has an incredible sense about it. You know, and so, yeah, for me, there was more of a sense of comfort, a sense of home, a sense of being there at the first one.
And growing up there.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it.
I always felt, well, before the new one was built, that there was a lot of ghosts there, you know, on every corner.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere you turned, it was, you got that old feeling. You know?
God, I have a funny story about that. You know, when Derek Jeter was playing, he would often say, you know, if the Yankees were down, I don't know, by 2 or 3, you know, runs or had no runs at all, he'd say he'd get up to bat. And he knew that's when the ghost would appear.
Yes.
He would say,
you know, that's very
that's when the ghost would appear, and they would just help him, you know, hit a home run, you know, that type of thing.
So how many games do you think that you went to, home games or even away games, like in a season when your father was playing? Did you go to every game?
I didn't go to every game, not every game, but went to quite a few.
And did your mom go to every game?
No, she didn't go to every game either, but went to quite a few. Went to quite a few.
Let's talk about Karen.
Okay.
And a wonderful girl, your younger sister. And unfortunately, she had a disease. And what was she like?
She was wonderful, my younger sister. She was born with cerebral palsy, but she had an incredible spirit, just like a fighting spirit. And she taught me a lot about love and patience and humility. She really did. She really, really did, especially patience. But she was a wonderful kid. She was always had a smile on her face and was always just ready to go and just be a part of anything and do anything. She really was a special person. She really was.
And she loved watching her dad play?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. She did.
And how about your brother?
My brother also was a bit of a firecracker, so to speak. You know, he was kind of like a much more a kid full of a lot of energy, you know. So he was always, you know, into things and always doing things and, you know, just always running around. And my mother was always like, all right, come back, you know, that type of thing. You know.
And so when your father passed away, years later, she wrote this beautiful book.
Yes.
And I loved reading it. And there's just so many stories about it and so well written. Did you participate in that?
I did. The writer, Ralph Winbush, is a wonderful writer. He was a sports writer for the New York Post for many, many years before he retired. But there's a special connection between Ralph Winbush's family and my family is that Ralph's father was, I believe he was head of the NAACP in Florida at the time, or one of the branches. And so when the Yankees were going down to spring training, they had to, because, you know, Daddy couldn't stay in a hotel like the other players, they had to find him lodging. And so they would call the NAACP and find him lodging to stay in a house, somewhere where he could just, be. And
I think he stayed with Ralph.
He did.
Many times.
He stayed.
Yes.
He stayed with Ralph many times. And yeah, so that's a special connection. And to this day, we're very much in contact with Ralph.
And beautiful words, beautiful writer. He did a great job.
He really did. He really did. He really did.
And your mom expressed herself on many of her feelings, her background. I read where she listened to our friend Harry Carey. Great guy. And that's how she fell in love with baseball. Obviously well before, and, Jackie Robinson and all of that. And she hadn't met your father. How did they meet?
They sort of grew up together in high school. They both were born in and grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, which also is where Yogi Berra grew up, by the way. And they sort of grew up together. They knew of each other, but were not really friends at the particular time. But my father was a sportsman at that time. I mean, in high school he played baseball, he played basketball, he played football. I mean, he did it all. At the time when he graduated from Vashon High School, I believe in 1949, he had about 25 scholarship offers to go to college, and he turned them all down because he wanted to follow in the same footsteps that Jackie Robinson signed, on with the Dodgers. So he went on to play with the Kansas City Monarchs, which was a team for the Negro Leagues at the time. The manager at the time was Buck O'Neill, a wonderful man. I'll never forget Buck. He was just a wonderful man. I met him later on in life through many different, outings and things like this sort of thing. And he was a wonderful man. But it is at Buck's recommendation that my father got signed for the New York Yankees. But going back to your original question, they didn't know each other that well. They knew of each other, but didn't know each other. And so eventually they winded up getting together because of the same types of people who they knew growing up in high school.
So was it love at first sight?
Was it love at first sight? I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure if it was love at first sight or not.
And how soon after they met did they marry?
I'd say a couple of years. A couple of years they got married. And then at that time, my father, he was going down to Puerto Rico to play, I believe, if I have that right.
Okay. And so did they have a big wedding?
No, they had like a civil wedding. You know what I mean? They, justice of the peace sort of thing. So it was that type of thing where they got married. They didn't have a big, huge, gigantic thing. It was a very small, quiet thing.
I'm going to move forward a little bit. When he was traded from the Yankees to the Red Sox, did you all move to Boston?
We didn't move to Boston. What we did was we came up on certain weekends. And my father was living in a hotel at that time. And so my parents got a big, huge suite, where we all stayed in. And, so we didn't come up all the time. We came up periodically, like through the season, to see Dad play.
What did you think of Boston?
I loved Boston. I loved Boston at the time. My brother and I were having a great time in that hotel because we used to ride the elevator up and down just for fun. So it was
Do you remember what hotel it was?
Oh, I can't remember. It was such a while ago. I can't remember the name of the hotel.
And did Karen get to come with you?
Yes, Karen did get to come with us. Karen did get to come with us.
That's good. I remember coming east for the first time. I actually liked Boston a little bit more than I liked New York. Of course, that changed very quickly. But I had a good time there as well.
Oh, good. Yeah, I love Boston.
I love Boston.
Yeah, and I went to college in Boston.
Where?
I went to Emerson College in Boston. So that was a great time.
And what did you study?
I studied communications, journalism, and theater and drama.
Did you do anything with the journalists?
No, I didn't. But now I'm writing. I mean, now I'm saying I'm writing more than I ever have written before. Because several years ago, I did a off-Broadway show that I wrote about the life of Josephine Baker.
Yes. Oh,
and
gosh.
so I had the incredible opportunity to do that because several years before that, I was in Europe living for 3 years in a show, doing a show based on the life of Josephine Baker for about 3 years. I traveled throughout Europe.
I remember that. I remember when you did.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And so what was it like? Where in Europe did you live?
In Amsterdam. because the
Great
producers, they were located in Amsterdam. So we traveled. Amsterdam was our base, and then we traveled out throughout Europe, doing the show.
And it was all done in English?
It was all done in English.
Okay.
I sang in English. Oh, and I also sang in French. So it was a little bit of both.
So you speak French?
I do. I do speak French.
Okay.
I do.
So you were there for several years?
I was there for about 3 years.
Was Amsterdam your favorite of all the places that you traveled around there?
I think so. I think Amsterdam was my favorite. It's a great city. It's a beautiful city with all its canals and beautiful old European
fields. One place I have not been.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's really lovely. I love Amsterdam. It really became like a second home for me, and I have still to this day a lot of friends there, who I wish I could see more often than when I do.
Have you gone back?
I have not gone back, but it's time for me to go back.
Yes, it is.
I've had friends who've come to New York, to see me, but I haven't gone there. But it's time to go back because it's been quite a while. And so I was there doing that show for 3 years. And then originally the show was supposed to go to London. That was the plan. What happened was the London producers wanted to do some rewriting, and the original director didn't want it to be rewritten. So there was a little bit of tension there with that. So it winded up not going to London, and then I came back home and was completely frustrated because the plan was for it to go to London and then to move on to New York. So what I did was when I got back from Amsterdam, I went back to school. I went back and I got my undergraduate degree, and then I went on to get a master's degree in writing.
So you need to write. Yes, you should be writing.
Yes.
Lots of stories.
Yes. I winded up doing I already had a wealth of research about the life of Josephine Baker, that I had already done on my own when we were.
It's a great story.
It is. It's an amazing story. She was an amazing woman. And so what I did was I just went back and went through all of that different material and started writing my own show, my own one-woman show about her and about all these different characters in her life, and winded up doing a one-woman show about her life off Broadway.
And and that's what I remember you doing when I first came on the scene and so busy. And what else did you do?
Oh, well, I've traveled around a lot, doing a lot of different national tours in America and this country, all different types of tours, of different types of shows, Ain't Misbehavin', Dream Girls, and original shows, a lot of original shows I did that were wanting to come into the city as well. Yeah, I've done a lot of theater. And then I had another chance to do another show in Europe, which I did, a show called Body and Soul, which was a tour, which I was there for quite some time touring in that as well. So I've spent a lot of time in Europe, and then a lot of time in the United States also.
Did you
touring.
miss home when you were there?
I did. I did. So periodically when we had time off, I would go home. And so it was nice always to go home.
And so your mom at that time, was she still working after your father passed away? She went back into the family printing business?
Yes, she did. That's correct. She
Okay.
did. She went back into the family printing business.
And your brother did that a little bit? Oh, yes.
He did. He did that a little bit as well. He did that a little bit as well.
And now the family, you all no longer have that. It was sold.
Right, exactly. It
All
was
right.
sold.
Okay.
It was sold.
What are you doing today?
What am I doing today? Well, I have this project that I've been working on with a friend of mine by the name of Debbie White. And her father was Bill White, who used to be one of the Yankee announcers.
And I saw Debbie at the stadium.
Oh, yes,
She gave me her dad's telephone number.
Oh, great.
And so I believe it's been about 2 or 3 weeks, and I called him, and we chatted and had a wonderful time,
good.
because Billy
Good.
worked in the booth with Phil and
good.
Bill, and we laughed and giggled. And Debbie actually answered the phone when I called because she was driving him somewhere to
a doctor's
appointment or something.
Yes.
But he was as clear as a bell. I understand he's not doing so well, but he sounded fabulous to me.
Oh, good.
And we
Good.
reminisced. And what a great man.
Yes,
What a
he
fun
really
man.
was. He really, really, really
and,
is.
So I had never met Debbie before until this last Old Timers Day.
Oh, really? You
And
hadn't
we
met her
said,
before?
no,
Because she's
I
been to other Old
Yes,
Timers
and
Day.
I've never met her.
Okay.
Usually there's so many people and so forth. But oh my gosh, she was just, and she says, oh, you need to call my dad. So that's what I did.
Oh, that's great.
And I so enjoyed that because it's been so long.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So you and Debbie maybe grew up together a little
We
bit?
did.
Yes.
We grew up together because Debbie's father also played for the St. Louis Cardinals
That's
for
correct.
many years. And so my father and Debbie's father were very good friends. So I grew up, together with her brothers and sisters. And she grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is a beautiful, beautiful rural area, but a great little town. Bucks County and just all the towns around there are just so interesting and just different. I mean, they're very artsy. There's a lot of great restaurants and this type
that
of
is
thing.
a nice area.
So she grew up there, but was one of probably the only African-American family living in that area. So she had all these different stories about growing up and about current stories about what it's like living in Bucks County now. So she kept telling me all these stories, and I said, you know what, that's a sitcom. But really,
she is very, she's a magical type person and very alive. And
yeah,
and
she is.
I so enjoyed it. Well, once again, meeting her for the first time. I'd heard about her through the years and certainly had my share of fun and laughter with her dad in the booth.
Oh,
and,
good.
He and Phil and Billy, they were too funny together.
Oh, good. That's good. That's great.
Was there any other siblings that you were close to or hung out with or went out with during the years?
You mean from the
Yankees?
From the Yankees. Roy White's family, I hung out with a lot with his daughter, Rena.
Yes.
Yeah.
I met Rena at the funeral.
Oh, okay, yes.
And Linda, what a wonderful, kind woman.
She really,
God
really
bless her.
was.
And
she really was.
And Roy is a great man. A great man.
He really is. He really, really, really is.
So what did you and Rena do?
Well, at the time we were kids, so we just hung out and played with each, played, together with each other. That's what we did at the time, because she was very young and I was very young and we were just kids hanging out, playing, having a good time, really.
So how old were you when your dad stopped playing?
That's a good question. I had to be, I believe, in junior high school, I think. So I might have been about 13, 14, 15, somewhere around there.
And then he came back and he was a coach for the Yankees.
He was a coach for 11
Billy.
seasons. Yes, for
and
Billy.
many other people.
Yes,
a little bit of a change up there sometimes.
Yes.
And he was also a peacemaker with Billy. The time that Billy and Reggie got into that scuffle in Boston.
Yes.
It was your dad and Yogi that kind of pulled them apart and said, hey, guys, come on.
It's true. It's true. It really was. That really was. It really, really was. I mean, that was something. But Dad was there to say, hey,
come on.
Come on.
Come on. And I'm grateful for that, too.
Yeah.
But Billy had such a soft spot in his heart for him. And always talked about just, once again, everybody protected one another. Which
is a wonderful thing, wasn't it? Everybody protected one another.
You think about how our life is today with teams and things have changed and so forth. But it seemed like that era of ball players and the 70s era of ball players, they just were like glued at the hip.
Yes.
With each other, protected each other, did things with each other.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
I come from a little bit of a professional sports background, and then coming and seeing what the Yankees were all about, boy, that gives you a whole new insight.
It really does. It really does.
Very exciting, and I think that had a lot to do with how they were able to win like they did and accomplish the things.
Yeah.
And wasn't your mom and dad real close to Yogi and Carmen?
Yes, very close to Yogi and Carmen. Very close to Yogi and Carmen. That's a great couple. They really, really were. I love them so much. See, Uncle Yogi and Aunt Carmen. They were just wonderful. Really wonderful people.
And did you all, let's see, he was from Montclair.
He lived in Montclair,
and you guys
right.
are in Teaneck.
Yes.
And you've lived there the whole time.
Yes, I've lived in Teaneck the entire time.
How long has that been?
Wow. It's been some time, at least since the 1960s. I have to say, so 60, 70, 80, 90. That's over 40 years. Yeah.
I understand there was a real reason for her to write this book. Talk about that.
Well, I think she wanted to just really set things straight by writing this book and making sure that, that my father, as my mother would say, got his due, just in terms of people knowing, his history and how much he accomplished and what he did and that type of thing. And Ralph was wonderful with all of that. He just is just like a walking encyclopedia himself for baseball. He truly is. And so the two of them together with my mother's story about growing up, in St. Louis, and then Ralph's great knowledge of baseball and history, it was a good combination, to sort of bring this book to the forefront, for her.
One of the things I was taken by when I read it was shortly after your father passed away, your home was robbed.
Yes. Oh, dear. Yeah, that was awful. That was awful. Yeah, a lot of things were taken. Mainly when I say things taken, a lot of like my father's jewelry. Rings were taken.
The World Series rings. Which was what, 9, 10 of them?
Exactly.
Yes, uh-huh.
Exactly. So all of these things were stolen.
Never found out who or when or why or anything back?
No. One thing we got back. Yeah, one ring we got back. And that was just a crazy coincidence. It was some sort of a officer in the Bronx was arresting some kid for something, and he noticed he had this ring on his finger, and it happened to be my dad's.
So you're able to at least have one of them?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So when your dad passed, Mom, how was she?
Oh,
having been through that
rough.
Myself, it's not the easiest thing to
it isn't,
get
it
through.
It isn't. It's very rough. It's very rough. It's very rough. And she had a lot of good people around her. She had a lot of good friends around her, which was good, which was comforting.
Yes.
And the way she dealt with it, my mother, it was rough for her. So she began traveling. That seemed to help her. What I mean by that is, she would travel to places she'd never been to before. She went to one Christmas, went to Brazil. I went with her at the time, but she would travel to sort of, I don't know, it was almost like getting away from the environment that she felt, but it was really rough. It was really rough.
How did she deal with the racism of her time? I always saw her to be so stoic and such a lady that she was such an example to so many of us at the stadium. How did she deal with all that?
Well, really for her, she was very, very conscious of that, very, very conscious. And she felt very strongly, okay, I've got to present myself even more elegant, more smarter, more this, more that, more everything. I've got to present myself in a way that
she did.
Yeah, and she did. That looked perfect, that looked perfect. And she did.
And that was when I met her. That's what I saw.
Yeah. And that's what she wanted to portray. Also, I think it had a lot to do with the Yankee history, because what I mean by that is when they were first looking for an African American, they wanted someone of great moral character, and that turned out to be my dad. So
it was pretty obvious.
So they kept that moral character was important for the organization, as you know. Moral character, humility, all these types of great traits. And so my parents tried to, as much as they could, embody that so that they could just, set an example as high as they possibly could.
And what about George Steinbrenner?
Contrary to what other people say, George Steinbrenner was wonderful to my parents. He really was. I mean, he would just, anything they wanted, he would do. He was great. He was great. Yeah, let that be known.
I'm a fan. I can't thank him enough.
Yeah, because he really would step up, right?
Step up.
He would really step up
Totally
and really just be there for you. He did the same thing with my mother. And, he... even when I was singing the national anthem in early days, he would say things, is Cheryl available? Let's fly Cheryl in. Have her sing the national anthem. And he would do it.
And that sounds just like him.
Yeah, and they'd fly me in to sing the national anthem because at the time I was doing another show that was a national tour. So, they would fly me in to sing the national anthem and I would do it and it was great. But he was always wonderful to my family. He was always very, very supportive and always stepping up to the plate. Anything you need, how can I help? He was always like that.
I think we were lucky to see another side that was portrayed.
Yes, I think we were too.
I will always be indebted, always honor him. And one thing you learned, though, right off the bat, it was his house and his rules. And as long as you followed him, then that was okay.
That's
true.
Then
everything would go very more than wonderful.
That's true.
And he was a very giving man, a very kind man. He would communicate with you just exactly what you're portraying.
Exactly.
I experienced that too.
Exactly. That's exactly what I experienced too. He was very kind, very giving, very understanding. I mean, all of those things. And his wife too was lovely.
Oh, yes.
She was absolutely lovely.
She was. And so is the whole family. They've been
Yeah.
wonderful.
They
I'm
have
very
been
grateful
wonderful.
when Billy passed. He just was amazing. I mean, he stood right by me and
great.
said, don't worry, we're going to take care of all of this.
Oh,
and
that is
It's
great.
just amazing, man. And I will always love him for that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
So what does your day consist of right now?
Well, right now, I've been caretaking for my mom, for her, caretaking for her. So that really entails like getting up, making sure that she's up, her getting dressed and getting, serving her breakfast and, all that type of stuff is what I've been doing right now, taking care of my mom.
And do you have help along other than yourself?
I do. Periodically, I have help.
Mhm.
Periodically, I have help, with her.
And so will she be traveling to Albany with you tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow. She's not going to be.
Okay.
Right now, currently she's in rehab.
Oh, you mentioned that
She's
earlier.
doing
I'm
some
sorry.
great
Yes.
rehab,
Mhm.
some physical therapy, for her. So that's been going really, really well. It's really been well. She's really taking a liking to it and really just sort of woke up in another way. So she's really doing well.
And how
there.
old is she today?
My mother is 90 years old. She is 90.
I have a 91-year-old father.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that was, yes, it's, and I'm very lucky. So when you also had a foundation that you were part of, that you were helping underprivileged children succeed. Talk about that.
My mother was involved with a foundation that helped underprivileged children at the time. During the holidays, she was involved with a very special club called the Doll League, which was a great organization that set up scholarships and this sort of thing for children, underprivileged children. And every Christmas, they would do a big, huge toy drive for these kids and have big affairs, black tie affairs and this type of thing where they would raise money for the children, for these children, for, scholarships and for Christmas events as well.
The more I read and know about your mother, she was truly the real hero of the family. I mean, keeping everything together on a regular basis
Yes.
and, taking control. Did you have help in your house at all, or was it just mom, or how did you guys get from one place to another and, get to the ball game, travel, and who took care of you when your dad went on the road?
Yeah, my mother did have help. We did. We had a full-time maid who lived with us. So we had that full-time maid who did all the cooking and did all the cleaning. And so my mother was able to just concentrate on, on us, on the kids and what we were doing and making sure that we were up and dressed and ready to go and this type of thing.
Your mom said that your dad died of a broken heart. Why did she say that?
She said that because my dad's dream was to become a major league manager for a team. That was his dream, to become a manager. And not many people know this, but he almost did become the first African American manager because at the time, I can't remember the exact year, but a man by the name of Bill Veeck was trying
I
to...
remember Bill.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
You remember Bill Veeck?
Yes.
Okay. He was trying to buy the Washington Senators at the time. He was negotiating a deal to buy the Washington Senators. And unfortunately, that deal fell through. But he had talked to my father and said, well, listen, when this deal goes through, I want you to be my manager. I want you to be my manager. And that's how that started. But unfortunately that, it didn't come to pass. So my mother said he died of a broken heart because he always wanted to be a major league baseball player. He always wanted to be a major league baseball player and a manager as well. On top of that, he always wanted to be a major league manager.
Take it full cycle.
Yeah, to take it full cycle. Exactly. And he never got to realize that dream.
And so when your father was diagnosed with his illness, how did he take all that?
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough because he was diagnosed with something called myocarditis, which affects the heart, where the heart sort of swells to twice its size. And then you have to be very, 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 very still. It's like you can't really move that much. You have to rest. which is what was going on. He was resting all the time. And then there was a moment in between there where he got better, where he got much better. And then it slid the other way. It actually slid the other way.
I'm very grateful for being able to experience what happened to you, being a child of the Yankees, getting to meet your mom and the other ladies. And it just feels still so much like family. Do you feel that as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was talking to Willie Randolph about that recently.
Great guy.
Isn't he the best? He is just really the best. He's the best. And he's so wonderful. And he talks about my father so highly. He really does. But he was saying how much it meant to him that, all of us are family in that way. And he said he felt that was a little different from the younger ball players who are coming up now. It's not quite as family orientated as much as we are, as the generation that we came up with, my father's generation, Willie's generation, Billy's generation, coming up in that way, being a close-knit family of baseball.
And did you get to know my husband at all?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, he was always lovely to me. He was always just really absolutely a sweetheart. He was always a doll, and it was a sweetheart to my mother as well.
Yes.
Yeah, he really was.
He loved the kids. There's stories where, if he'd get kicked out of a game, he'd be inside playing bumper pool with somebody, in the clubhouse because he loved the kids. And I understand he would always bring cookies and candies and food all the time to everybody in the clubhouse. I mean, of course, the girls weren't allowed in there, so it was the boys.
Right.
So maybe your brother probably experienced that a little bit. One of the things, too, I understand that your dad also was the first to wear a protective batting helmet behind the plate. Do you remember anything about that?
Really?
Yes, I read that. And so, obviously you can understand his motivation, but, it would help so many people behind the plate. And didn't he hit in the World Series several home runs off of Don Newcomb in several different World Series?
He did.
Almost seems like I wonder if Don was like a little shaky when
it's true.
Time, right?
He did. He hit several off of Don Newcomb and in one of his first World Series for one.
Correct. And then one shortly thereafter, I believe, is what I read. So, didn't your mom go on the Ed Sullivan Show?
Yes.
What
they
was
did.
that about?
They both went on the Ed Sullivan Show, actually. They both were on the Ed Sullivan Show. Well, actually, my father was on the Ed Sullivan Show a couple of times. There was a YouTube video I found that someone sent me. That a friend of mine sent me.
We have to get that. Oh my gosh, yes.
Of like a rookie team of the Yankees on the Ed Sullivan Show.
A really good shoe, he used to say. A really good shoe.
Yes, he did say that. Really good shoe. Really good shoe.
So that was great.
But it was like a rookie year of several different players. And my father was there as one of them. And this was a YouTube video that a friend of mine sent me, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I had never seen that. My father was so young. I had never seen it. He was so young back then. But the other time they were on the Ed Sullivan Show, it was also my mother and my father had gone, just to see the show, and were guests of Mr. Sullivan. And there were several times when they had him over for dinner as well.
Really? Oh my gosh, what was that like?
That was interesting. That was fun.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, but he was quiet. He was a quiet, kind of reserved man.
And a little man.
He was tiny.
And your dad was so tall, so.
Yeah, he wasn't very tall at all. He really wasn't very tall at all. But
and so all you kids got to sit at the table with him?
Yeah, we did. We got to sit at the table with him.
And so, does your dad ever talk about being in the Army? Korean War? Or what it's like to have been in the service?
Not a lot. He didn't really. I know that, he was in the Korean War. He served in the Korean War for about 2 years,
Did he enlist or was he drafted?
He was drafted. He was drafted. So he served his country proudly for about, 2 years. And then after that, he was signed, I think at that point he was signed to the AAA club for the Yankees. I believe that's what it was. Yes, I believe that's what it was. And, able to move on from there with his career after he served in the Army.
In between, let's see, the time that he left Boston and before he became a coach at the Yankees, he must have been home a little bit more, obviously. In between was a short period of time from the time that he left. And so what did you guys all do as a family?
Oh, my gosh. Well, see, not many people know this, but my father loved to cook.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he loved to cook. Loved to cook. So much so that my mother would say to him, so what are we eating tonight? What are we having for dinner tonight, Ellie?
Relieved of her duty.
Yeah, relieved of her duty. But he loved to cook. I mean, so much so. And one of the things he loved to do was grill. He really loved to grill some steaks. He really did. This is how much he loved to grill steaks. It would be snowing outside, 12 inches of snow. He would fire up the grill outside in the snow just so he could have charcoal, real authentic charcoal steaks in the wintertime.
That's awesome. And so where did he learn to cook? Just growing up? Or
just growing up and just experimenting and doing it himself. And then he made an incredible gumbo, an incredible crab gumbo that was out of this world. He made some great smothered pork chops, for breakfast. He really was
That's pretty good for breakfast.
Yeah, it was. It was heavy with home fries. Yeah, it was great.
You had a lot of family meals together, or maybe not so many while he was playing ball?
Not so when he was playing ball, but we definitely had a lot, many of family meals, off season, off season. My dad also, he loved to shop. So I would be with him all the time when he was shopping. I mean, he just loved to go out and both of it, food shop and shop just for whatever, was the newest, latest gadget. He would love to do that. I remember one season in the off season, like in about October, we went to a farm in upstate New York to pick some apples. So my dad was picking apples with me in upstate New York.
And so spring training, did you guys go to spring training with your dad?
Periodically, yes.
Okay. And that was when they were in Fort Lauderdale.
That was when they were in Fort Lauderdale, yes.
Yes. And you guys go to the beach in your spare time and all of that with Dad, or was he too busy,
He was busy. Well, at the time when my mother would go down, she would, he'd be obviously working all day. So my mother found an incredible spa.
I'm with her.
She found an incredible spa that did it all, that had exercise classes and facials.
Kept you guys pretty busy.
That kept her very, very busy, very, very busy. So that was her day.
And so, Cheryl, we're all going to travel with you tomorrow
yes.
up to Albany to see your dad get inducted. And Diana Munson is going to join us to root you on. And so we're going to have a heck of a weekend. And I can't thank you enough for coming here today. I've always enjoyed all my time I've spent with you through the years, as many others have had. And God bless you for everything you're doing. And will you give your mom a hug for me?
I absolutely will give my mom a hug for you. And thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
So much, Jill. This
and
has been wonderful.
We're going to have a good weekend ahead of us.
Yes, we have a great weekend ahead of us.
All right, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But my dad's legacy continues. It lives on. In 1984, his number 32 was retired by the Yankees, the team he truly loved, and the Yankees loved him. The beautiful part of this story is my dad's teammates treated him as a brother, like family. And I am proud to say that I had many uncles whom I loved, like Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford, Mickey Mantle, and Roger Maris. And today in 2023, he's being inducted into the New York Baseball Hall of Fame. On behalf of myself, my mother, and the rest of my family, we say thank you for this tremendous honor. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is Jill Martin. Please continue to watch our show on this network or enhance your experience by watching previous shows on our website, worththepriceofadmission.com. Also, please subscribe to our newsletter to stay updated and be the first to get notified about future new shows. So get ready for engaging conversations that have the power to enrich and broaden your views. Truly an experience that justifies worth the price of admission. Thank you and have a beautiful day.